Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and we're taking a look at a new moon in Virgo, September 2nd, 2024. It occurs at 9:56 p.m. Eastern Time at 11 degrees 4 minutes of this mutable Earth sign. So let's take a look at the forecast for the energy of this lunation. New moon in Virgo, Monday, September 2nd, activates a state of observation and anticipation as you fill your time of waiting and watching for something or someone to appear with preparation, practice, and mundane but necessary tasks as the moon conjunct the sun in a discerning, detail-oriented, and problem-solving mutable earth sign ruled by the planet Mercury and associated with the sixth house of service-related work, dharma, daily chores, exercise, diet, nutrition, health, and physicality, forms a T-square aspect pattern with Jupiter in Gemini and Saturn retrograde in Pisces, overlapped by another T-square involving Venus in Libra conjunct the South Node, Neptune retrograde in Pisces conjunct the North Node in Aries, and Mars in Gemini. Remember the promises you made to yourself or another. Keep your goal in mind and your energy high, because a kite aspect pattern consisting of Venus in Libra, Uranus retrograde in Taurus, and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is directing the change and transformation required to manifest your desires, if they are for your highest good, toward Neptune retrograde conjunct the lunar North Node in Aries, which is inspiring you to heal or release trauma and pain from the past and live the highest and best version of life you can envision. Be patient with yourself and others at this new moon, because who you or they wish to be may not yet be evidenced within the present timeline yet, but it is possible and probably imminent. Giving or receiving constructive criticism or a bold speaking of the truth could be part of the healing process. The shift in consciousness and the resultant manifestation might occur when you tire of acting as if and focusing your persistent attention on your desire. Just as you let go and look away, the universe steps in to take over and work on your behalf. So do your best while inviting a higher power to do the rest. Let's take a look at what the sky looks like right now. As you can see, it's extremely busy. We have planets that are running through a large amount of signs right now. We have a little bit of a skip here with Cancer energy being lacking, but we've got pretty strong occupation of 8 or 9 out of the 12 signs. Plus, we have the power and desire intensified for manifesting something, because the lead-off planets, or the edges of this big lineup of energy, are Pluto and Venus, and they are supporting each other in that trine. We also have overtones of fate, destiny, karmic lessons, relationships that are karmic in nature. There can be a turning of tables, so to speak, and there can definitely be releasing of negativity or things that no longer serve you at play as well. While we have these two T-squares engaging with, well, the moon and the sun, with that one T-square with Saturn retrograde in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini, it almost seems to be saying, if you've done everything you can do along one path, perhaps it is time to choose another or look at other options, or stay open to the possibility that there could be other ways of doing things or to improve what already exists, because we do have Saturn, and that is a planet of reality, and the fact that it is retrograde, something that already has been in existence that might need to adapt or be rehabilitated or in some way be viewed at in a different way. Then the other T-square does affect the lunar nodes and both Venus and Neptune. The opposition of Venus and Neptune can activate some unrequited love feelings too. There's just so much going on in here, by the way, that it didn't all get covered in what I wrote because I could write 3 times as much. But the limit of actual characters I can use in social media posts, I won't allow that. So at least I can talk about it here. And thank you for having the patience to listen or the interest to listen. Venus is pleasure, desire, comfort, beauty, harmony, where we seek to be happy or make others happy. And Neptune is actually a higher octave of the Venus, the Venusian love light, basically. This is more about the romantic or idealized love, or the sacrifices that we make, the ability to um, love somebody despite the fact that they are not perfect, or love ourselves despite the fact that we are not perfect. There can be a strong longing for an ideal or for some happier time and place or person from the past, because we do have that North Node there in Aries opposing the South Node in Libra, and that is the relationship axis. Neptune, that is a planet of longing. It is generally a bittersweet energy, particularly if we are living more in the past than looking toward the present or the future. In some ways, I feel like this T-square is meant to activate us to be taking an action on maybe a dream that we've shelved before, or if we've turned away from our true purpose or our inner truth, or we have not been loving ourselves enough, then this T-square will remind us of those things. And yes, on a very basic level, lovers from the past may be on your mind or may come back into your life, or you might seek them out, because Mars does often go in pursuit of things, particularly in the curious sign of Gemini, communicative and curious. And this aspect that Mars is making to Pluto at the final degree of Aquarius retrograde before too long. I think it's 2 more days. September 4th, I think it goes back into Capricorn. And the sense of urgency or intensity that a Pluto-Mars aspect can produce, it accentuates willpower, determination, action, almost to an obsessive point. The feeling of urgency that comes from a planet at a final degree can also lead to making those type of decisions and taking those kinds of actions. And it may be rooted in desire. We've got Neptune also at that anaretic 29 degrees, and it will be there for quite a while. It's not doing the shift in signs until we get to May of 2025. But the combination of these two in a minor grand trine that is basically pulling the energy of the grand trine and creating the overall kite pattern brings us these higher transpersonal planets, generational planets that can produce those major shifts. And I do feel it's about something or someone, someplace, that perhaps there was a soul promise, commitment, agreement, or strong desire to have that interaction, have that life lesson, and maybe it didn't happen fully. Maybe the time was not right. With this new moon, Virgo energy is very much about, it's like the Ways and Means Committee of the zodiac. The who, what, when, why, where, how may all be coalescing and coming into place And how they do or when they do, I feel is a combination between the practical, the logical, the pragmatic energy of discerning Virgo that's looking at all the details and gathering all the data, facts, information, figuring out what is useful, what can be utilized, what is not. And there's a balance that must be met here with the Pisces energy, which is much more about the beingness rather than the doingness. And it is about seeing yourself and becoming that version of how you believe you should be, or the life that you feel is where you belong. But if you've been belonging somewhere too long and you're feeling stuck, rather than complaining about it, bless the situation and say, okay, now I know what I don't want. What would be the opposite of that? What would be the opposite of all these things that are annoying the crap out of me, that are just distracting all my attention and not what I want to be dealing with? What would it look like? Who would I be? Where would I be? Who would I be with if that were all different? And it's about bringing the alignments together so that you can embody and become. And it isn't all about doing. However, when you cannot do something that's going to result in a manifestation other than the consciousness part of it, then go fill your go fill your day or whatever with the things that need to be done or that would prepare for it. For instance, if you wanted to be moving, go out and get some boxes and start going through your stuff and donate some of it and pare down, clean up, go through your possessions to lighten the load for the move to come. And if you are looking for that partner, then get out, go to places where people are and anticipate meeting somebody. Present yourself in the way that you would like to be seen, and focus your attention on doing the things that you can do that show that you're willing to show up, and then leave the bigger parts of it to the universe to step in and help you to manifest them. If you're feeling like Mercury is still retrograde, even though it came out of retrograde on, I believe, the 28th of August, that is because the planet Mercury in Leo is making a square aspect with Uranus in Taurus. And they are both fixed signs. And we've got some fiery energy and some earth energy, and just think of like dust storms and adobe bricks there. It can be quite um, frustrating right now if you have particular plans, but you know the expression that we make our plans and God laughs. Expect that maybe there is something better, and that perhaps the interruptions, the changes, the missed communications, the lost luggage, or whatever's going on with that Mercury being in a harsh aspect with a planet of unpredictability has some meaning behind it. And lean into the adaptive and flexible energy of the mutable planets that are in the sky right now. We have a fairly even mix of elements and qualities. We've got cardinal, fixed, mutable in pretty much equal measure. But mutable does dominate at the moment, and that does require you to be in a poised state of observation and readiness, open mindedness, and the ability to change your mind or change your path or adapt and adjust as you need to in the moment. Being present in the moment as much as possible rather than living in the past. It is difficult to not delve into the past while you have both Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Many past lessons and memories can come up. If they are serving a purpose, that's wonderful. If they are not, and it's just an excuse to keep you from moving forward, like, oh, I can't start a business because every time I've started a business, I've failed. Well, that was then and this is now. Get over it. All those failures can literally be the training ground for your eventual success. There's just so much that is going on, but it is these outer planets, Pluto, transformation, Neptune, beauty, healing, inspiration, sometimes the miracle or the thing that comes in the most miraculous way. Uranus, the change, that is what's pulling at what you truly desire. Mars and Jupiter are pulling apart now. They were more tightly conjunct at the last lunation, where we looked at a full moon. Now we've got them beginning to separate with Mars moving out ahead. We are going to be experiencing a Mars retrograde, but not until we get to December. Definitely look toward Mars in terms of when you take an action at this new moon, because it is in a sign that is about duality or multiple choices. This T-square indicates in order for you to have something that you want, you may have to give up something else that you like very much, that maybe you're not going to be able to have it both ways. Or if you're having to, let's say, choose between two lovers or choose between two job opportunities, you may simply have to sit with that in meditation before you decide. And I would recommend that you postpone making definitive decisions until we do see that crescent moon return to the sky, until we do see the moon come out of Virgo and move into Libra. So that would be day after tomorrow when that occurs. For many of you in other parts of the world, because this is a late night new moon in the Eastern time zone, it's a very early in the wee hours of the morning moon for you, new moon for you on the 3rd. And for everybody, you're going to feel the energy of this new moon today and tomorrow. Definitely pay attention to your dreams. Perhaps write down defined questions while we have this mutable energy of what ifs and multiple scenarios to think about. Do a little journaling before bed and make a list of questions and then see what your dreams tell you tonight. There may be some messages in there for you that help you determine which path to take. Okay, let's take a look at the Sabian symbol. We round up to 12 degrees of Virgo. After the wedding, the groom snatches the veil away from his bride. Keynote: the penetrating and unveiling power of the trained mind. In contrast to the preceding symbol, we have now a scene stressing a physical action with psychological and/or spiritual overtones. In ancient cosmologies, the male god often appears in 3 roles as son, husband, and father of the woman element of nature. Nature is fulfilled by the human mind and will that overcome her. She resists only better to be subdued by the power that transcends her, and by transcending her gives her a spiritual meaning. The element of training in the symbolic scene comes from the fact that there has been a marriage ritual. Thus, the socio-cultural factor is in the background. The teacher guru is here, the priest who has performed the ritual. At this second stage, the rules are reversed, the masculine element assuming the dynamic positive part in the great play of polarity. The masculine act balances the feminine dream visualization. The key word is unveiling. There can also be an unveiling of mysteries long protected by secrecy. Well, that's interesting because I don't go and pull that Sabian symbol before I look at the chart. It's the last thing I do. I go look at the chart, feel the energy, go choose a picture, and then interpret the aspects. And I was sensing actually the three stages of femininity, thinking along the lines of Virgo and that maiden energy of Virgo and the caretaking and the passage of time, the attention to the progress of time and all those daily tasks and service to others that bring us all that information, knowledge, and wisdom through just the simple acts of living and being of service to other people. And when I found that painting by Winslow Homer, it felt distinctly like we had the energy of what is it, the maiden, the who's in the middle, but the different stages of feminine energy, as well as what would be the Norns or the three sisters of fate in terms of what will be if we're going to be asking questions of what are we doing with our life and where are we going, that we have those multiple options. We have those different views and perspectives right now. And we are looking at a T-square with mutable energy in place. So in my mind, I was thinking along the lines of three energies at play. Well, always something to consider, these Sabian symbols, and also this information was channeled at a different time in society. So sometimes when I read them, I think, is that so? Like, does that apply now? Or would we interpret that in a different way? I feel that right now we are experiencing a turning of the tables in the balance of energy between the masculine and the feminine, and the suppressed feminine energy will be unveiled, basically, that the feminine is coming into power. But that Libra energy with Venus and that South Node does, on a greater societal level, seek a balancing, because it's out of balance, and that is painful. There is a lack of the equality right now. All right, I think that's it. And divide your time between the beingness and the doingness, and pay attention, be observant, spend time in meditation or pre-program your dreaming, and then wait to see what messages you receive. Rest, prepare. Once the moon does move into Libra on I believe it is the 4th, you will probably know what it is that you want and which direction you want to go in. I'll see you soon in another 2 weeks. Take care.